Actor and singer who has starred in numerous Broadway shows, including Mamma Mia, Les Mis, Phantom of the Opera, Sting's The Last Ship, and Dear Evan Hansen, among others. On screen, Aaron has appeared on Yellowstone and The Strain, and most recently as the movie star with Hot Dogs for Fingers that Michelle Yeoh kept watching on her TV in Best Picture winner Everything Everywhere All at Once. He lives in Los Angeles with his 2 sons, fiance, and their dog. Aaron.
Thanks, man. Ben, collabs.
Sure.
I love cookies.
That's your girl?
So much. Yeah,
Right.
collabs. Levan, collabs. Let's eat. Hi, guys. Can you guys hear me? Hi. Yeah, I'm Aaron Lazar. I'm a performer and actor. I have been for most of my life. This is, I think what you guys just did speaks to the importance of what this whole weekend is. So thank you to Demon for having me, and thank you, Eli. And my God, like, for you guys to be doing what you're doing at your ages is just so inspiring. So thank you. What I'm about to do is, I don't know what this is. This is, it's like a TED Talk in development, but it's the most intimate story that I've ever told. So it's not so much of a performance, but there's a little bit of performing in it. To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go. 23 years ago, I am a graduate student in Cincinnati. This is right after Duke. And it's opening night, and I am on stage in the dark waiting for the curtain to rise on The Man of La Mancha. And I'm playing the lead, Don Quixote, a legendary knight on a quest to better the world. And I am really nervous because there are agents and critics from New York in the audience. And my childhood dream of becoming a professional actor is on the line, right? This is it. This is my chance to prove to my parents, who, God bless them, supported me, that choosing musical theater over medical school is the right call. It's my chance to prove that I've got what it takes to be one of the 5% of actors who actually make a living. This is my chance to prove that I could make it on Broadway. So adrenaline pumping. Get to the big 11 o'clock number. And this is it. To right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. And the song ends, and I'm standing there in the spotlight, and it's quiet. When the audience rises in applause, it's a standing ovation. And I start to cry because I realize that my impossible dream is coming true. But I had no idea what impossible really meant. I stand before you today with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. It is a terminal disease that kills your nerves and takes your freedom before taking your life. It is a disease that I firmly believe I am going to beat. This is my new impossible dream now. And daring to dream it has transformed my life. 3 years ago, I'm living my acting dreams to the fullest. I'm starring in a new television series on Fox called Filthy Rich. It's the name of the show, not my bank account. And I'm dating a wonderful woman. My 2 boys are doing great. And I'm sitting in my office chair when I notice that my quads are twitching. So I Google it. ALS comes up immediately. ALS? wheelchair feeding tube trapped in your own body, ALS. Anxiety, insomnia, and depression hit me hard. I've got full body muscle twitches and muscle atrophy, and for months, I have no idea what's happening to me. At first, the doctors think at first that it's not ALS because I only have one symptom, the twitches, and you need more than one symptom to diagnose. So they think it's a more common nerve condition called benign fasciculation cramp syndrome. And they put me on Lexapro, which cuts my anxiety in half, and I start to calm down. And I start to eat again, sleep again. I get back to work. I get back to being a dad. And I'm still twitching, but life is starting to feel normal again. And then I go for a jog. It's Christmas in Los Angeles, and it's beautiful. And I'm running around my neighborhood, but I notice that my left foot is hitting the pavement harder than my right. And I do this test that the doctors showed me where you stand on your heels. Right foot, check. Left foot, drops. So I try it again, left foot drops again. And I think, shit, because foot drop is another symptom. At this point, I get in to see an ALS specialist at Cedars Hospital in Los Angeles. And he does an EMG, an electromyography test, where he sticks needles in my muscles to see how they respond. And in a matter of just minutes, he just looks at me and is like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, doc, no, I'm going to New York. I've got a show to do in New York. He said, okay, I'd like you to get a second opinion at Columbia. So a week later, I'm in Dr. Matt Harm's office, one of the all-time greats. And Harms takes me through a half a day of testing. I've got needles in my tongue, breathing test, electroshock test. He does a spinal tap to check for a rare cancer. Never thought I'd be wishing for cancer. And I'm sitting in the exam room waiting with my dad when Harms comes in and confirms it. It's slow-moving ALS. It took 8 months, 6 neurologists, well over 100 sleepless nights to be officially diagnosed. Every day since, my muscles twitch 24/7, and they can cramp and spasm unpredictably. My legs have weakened and atrophied, so I wear these leg braces, and I squeak, if you hear me squeak. For the last year, doing what most people take for granted has been really hard for me. Just standing, getting dressed, walking, climbing stairs. And until this spring, the disease was only in my lower motor neurons, but now it's reached my core and my right hand. How much longer am I going to be around? What quality of life am I going to have? How do I tell my kids? How do I not? These were the immediate terrible questions that I faced after the diagnosis. But there was another question. It just kept nagging at me. How did I get ALS? My doctors told me that science doesn't really know. For non-genetic ALS patients like me, patients for whom there is no gene associated with the disease, quote, there is no explanation for its development. No explanation. And to make things even more confounding, my doctors told me that many of their patients were in peak physical condition when they were diagnosed. Well, I thought I was too. For as long as I can remember, I've always been a health nut. When I was 13, My dad, he got me a copy of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding. I actually wrote my essay to get into Duke. What was your favorite book? I wrote that book. I got in early. And I became obsessed. I was obsessed with working out and the fitness and nutrition. It became like my life passion. Seriously, like you can ask anyone who knows me, other than being a great dad, my number one priority in life was to be healthy. And I rarely, if ever, get sick. ALS? My doctors also told me that military veterans have a higher incidence of cases compared to the general public. And again, science doesn't really know why. They think it has something to do with trauma. So I thought about my own trauma. We've all got our trauma. And I'm not equating divorce to combat, but my divorce was very traumatic. I fought for my marriage, and I fought for my family as if my life depended on it. And more than that, I realized I'd been living in a state of chronic stress for a long time. A long time. See, my career was really tough, even with my face on buses and billboards in Times Square. Jobs didn't last very long. Money was always tight. And I felt this pressure. I felt this pressure to do more, to get more, right? To provide more for my family. But no matter what I did, it didn't feel like enough. So this dream that had defined me since I was a kid, it didn't feel like enough, which was terrifying. And then I had another thought that was even more terrifying. What if it wasn't that the dream wasn't enough? What if I'm not enough? And that broke me, man. For 10 years, I white-knuckled life, just terrified, just this constant fear that despite all my success, I was a failure. Neuroscience tells us that thoughts, what are they? They're the electricity, right, the electricity that runs from our brains through our nerves, the wiring that connects our brains to our bodies. I now have a disease of the nervous system. So, how do you fix it? How do you fix a broken nervous system? Science doesn't really know. I take a medicine that apparently slows down the disease progression. And I'm also involved in a new drug trial, but medicine alone cannot cure me, not yet anyway. So I decided that I would try to figure out how to heal myself. No idea how, so I started reading books. Right? Books on healing and the nervous system. And over the next year and a half, I'd read 50 of them by doctors, spiritual teachers, yogis, renowned scientists. And you know, all the books say the same thing. Health is more than physical. It's also mental and emotional and spiritual. This was huge for me because my whole life I'd only prioritized the physical, but my mind was a mess. The Buddha said the mind is everything. And here's my phone. There's another quote by Max Planck, a Nobel laureate in physics. He said the same thing. He said, "We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts, we create our world." So I figured, all right, I've got to really look at my thoughts. I mean, maybe if I could heal these other parts of myself, maybe the body would follow, right? So reading, it became food for my soul. And I became really passionate about the mind-body connection. I started to become aware aware of my thoughts and my emotions and my actions and patterns that were controlling me and my life. And I started to see where I could make improvements. And one of the first things that I realized is that I had spent so much of my life living for the future, right? The bullets on the Wikipedia page, man. That's how I defined myself. And if I wasn't living for them, I was afraid of never getting them. Or I was living in the past, and I was just beating myself up over my perceived failures. Peaks and the valleys. I was living there, and I missed all these moments in between. The billions of moments in between that make up most of our life. And I didn't want to miss any more of those because I don't know how many I've got left. None of us do, right? So I decided that this moment is the most important one. What's the only thing in life that's inevitable besides death? It's a good answer. The only other thing besides taxes is this moment. Not the next one. This one. So I just started practicing in whatever way I could, living in this one. This is nothing new, right? As with most things in life, the answers are simple, but simple doesn't mean easy. It takes practice. So I created a practice for myself to improve these parts of myself. Every day, some combination of reading and research, meditation, breath work, exercise, eating well, singing, taking courses, attending events with global thought leaders, anything I could do. And it was a very different energy for me. Prior to ALS, I couldn't read a book. I didn't have the patience to sit down and do it. And look, some days it worked. And some days it didn't. And some days it does. And some days it doesn't. For every breakthrough that I've had doing this work over the last year and a half, and there have been so many beautiful, miraculous breakthroughs, I still have a hard time putting my pants on and walking to the car and looking at my legs in the mirror. And I'm still really scared about what could happen if this disease continues to progress. And on those days, I really don't want to do the work. And I do it anyway. And I started to change. One night, this was about 6 months ago, I was still able to do theater. I was in a show at the Amundsen in Los Angeles called The Secret Garden. I was driving home, by the way, The Secret Garden, a show about a boy who can't walk due to a mysterious disease, who learns to listen to himself and believe in himself and is miraculously healed. So I'm doing The Secret Garden. I'm driving home from work and my chest hurts. You know, I'd been doing this work now at that point for about 6 months and my chest hurts. I don't know what's going on. I start to cry. I pull over to the side of the road and I just start sobbing. I have no idea what's happening to me. Chest hurting, sobbing. This goes on for like a half an hour. I'm like, I gotta go. I can't sit here, right? I'm on the side of the highway. So I drive home. My fiance, Noelle, she was my girlfriend at the time. She's very concerned. Oh my God, are you okay? And I'm just ugly crying. And she's like, yeah. I said, yeah. I started to smile and laugh through the tears. I said, I think my heart is opening. And I realized I had closed my heart for so long because I just didn't want to be hurt anymore. But I didn't know that in doing that, I had shut off my connection to life. And now that I was doing this work and my heart was opening, I started to feel like myself again, like lighter and happier and freer. Despite ALS, I started to really feel happier than I'd been in a long time. And I also was able to receive all this love in my life, and I was able to give it back in exchange. And I had this another epiphany where I went, oh my God, like, you guys, this is all life is. It's just this simple, constant exchange of love between us and the world. And I proposed to Noelle later that month. She said yes. And then after telling them for so long that Daddy just has a problem with his nerves, I finally told my kids, Julian, Adrian, all right, so 23 years ago, I dreamed of being an actor, and nothing was impossible, and I believed in myself, no matter the odds. And then somewhere along the way, I lost it. I lost myself. I lost belief in myself and my dreams. I even lost the desire to dream at all. And then 23 months ago, in the face of the scariest, most challenging adversity, I found courage. And courage became hope, and hope became faith, and faith became belief. I started to believe in myself, and believe in life, and I started to dream again. First, this dream of beating ALS, and then I realized it's so much bigger than that. That dream had allowed me to step into a dream to heal all of me. And now I dream really since the first, being back at Duke is literally I've been saying this to people for the last 2 days. The students here, that energy that you guys have of these dreams and this joy, that's what I had lost. And I have that again. I have that again. And I'm dreaming of my life healthy and whole, doing fun things with the people that I love, walking, climbing stairs, dancing with my fiance, playing basketball with my kids, getting back on stage in a musical. In the Man of La Mancha, Don Quixote says to his loyal friend, Sancho, "Embrace the adventure, for it is in the pursuit of dreams that we find meaning." ALS has been the worst challenge of my life, but it's also been my greatest teacher. I believe that I will heal. Some of you may not agree, and that's okay, because I believe. And my belief has gotten me this far, and a belief tested and experienced and repeated becomes knowing. It's unlocked the best parts of me. It's allowed me to be happier and more fulfilled than I've been for as long as I can remember, and it's allowed me to live more in this moment and let go of the things that don't matter, and it's allowed me to know that so much of the healing that we seek lies within us. And I wish I could have learned all of this without ALS. Maybe you can. To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. And I know if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this, that one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks, guys, thank you. Thanks for being here.
All right, thank you, everyone. You have to forgive my tears, courtesy of Aaron. Thanks for that. I need to give a huge